Hello and welcome to this, the 50th episode of the Sockmatician podcast. My name is Nathan Taylor, also known as Sockmatician, right here on YouTube, as well as on Instagram, Ravelry and Twitter. 50 episodes, that feels like a bit of a milestone somehow. It's my half century. Why not? Let's call the episode half century. I've been podcasting now for a little over 2 years, and it obviously the group has grown, the viewers have grown, the followers on Instagram and Twitter have all grown, and the community that's built up around this podcast has been, well, one of the biggest sources of joy in my life over the last few years, most definitely. I've said this before, and for any new viewers, welcome. But if you haven't heard me say this already, then one of the main reasons I set up this podcast and started doing it in the first place was because I wanted to reach out and engage with people that I wouldn't otherwise get a chance to communicate with, and to try and bring knitters together around one thing, and that one thing is this group, and it's really worked, and it's been so gratifying. I've got to know so many of you through the media of Instagram or Ravelry, and that media, obviously the plural, and it's really lovely. Some of those people I've gone on to meet in person at yarn shows or classes that I've been teaching at, or all of these things have just cemented for me the knowledge that I was right to do it, that it was the right thing to do. So thank you for anybody who has stuck with me, listening to me burble and waffle on about knitting in particular. And there's the first pun of the podcast. Oh dear, I'm sorry, I can't help myself. It doesn't stop. A lot of my friends, they know this about me. I think there's something slightly wrong with my brain. I genuinely think so. And whenever I'm in conversation, part of my brain is constantly listening to what people are saying. Obviously, that's normal, but part of my brain is listening with a very specific intention, and that intention is going like, can I make a pun out of that? Can I play with those words? Genuinely, even if people are telling me a really sad story, part of my brain is saying, how can I make a joke about that? And when I find it, when something comes along, it's like, yes! And it's like a form of Tourette's, and I'm not downplaying the seriousness of Tourette's in anyone's life, because actually I almost believe it's similar. Sometimes I say very inappropriate things at very inappropriate moments. Thankfully, I've mostly got a grip on that. Mostly, not always. And yet, that urge to pun is always there. Genuinely always there. So you just have to get used to it. That was not me clicking my fingers. If you heard a little click, that was my neck. It did it all by itself, and I didn't mean it to. Otherwise, I'd have gone like that, and maybe you heard that as well. It crunched in there. Carry a lot of tension in my shoulders. We should all do our knit exercise. I'm rambling, I'm getting off topic, and it's only less than 4 minutes into this podcast's episode, so I think that's probably the measure of how it's going to go today, don't you? Today is Thursday, the 27th of September, not there yet, 27th of July? 26th or something like that. And it's a lovely afternoon. I have... Do you know what? Welcome. Let's start this as we mean to go on. Let's pretend that none of that burble ever happened, and let's proceed with care and content, because that's what you're here for, let's face it. Right. Before we get into the roundup, there is something I want to say. It is an apology. And my apology is simply that I haven't yet had an opportunity to properly go through all of the Twisted Soul and Twisted Sock knit-along stuff. So I haven't forgotten about it. I haven't yet chosen the winners. I apologise for that, but life gets in the way, and the best of good intentions and all the rest of it. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. and I'm on it. So I will be planning to do that for the next episode, which hopefully will be sometime next week. I'm doing quite well with this weekly podcasting thing at the moment, don't you think? I'm almost as good at it as Katie Novelli. Hi Katie! I watched your latest episode this morning and thoroughly enjoyed it. Your shawl with Kristen's design is looking absolutely fabulous. If anyone hasn't checked out Katie on Inside Number 23, and I know you all do, I know you watch already, but if you haven't looked at her latest episode, which is episode 69, which looks a lot like that, which I showed you last week, then do, because she's doing a test knit for Kristen of Woolenvine Dyeing Company, one of her new designs, and it's fabulous. It looks gorgeous. Anyway, one of the reasons why I haven't been able to get all of the stuff sorted for the cowls is because I've been madly busy behind the scenes trying to get some design work up and running, and I am pleased to announce, here it is, Ilbur, the double knitted shawl that you all know and love from this podcast from a few episodes ago, is now available. It's spelt like this, Ilburato, and it went live on Ravelry yesterday. It is available for £6. Now, I thought long and hard about this. I didn't want to put anyone off by having it as quite a high-priced pattern, but it's 21 pages of pattern goodness, okay? So you really do get your money's worth. You have, inside there are tutorials and techniques for all of the skills you need to make this scarf. And even if you have never done any double knitting before, because of course it is a double knit scarf, I absolutely and 100% believe that you will be able to get everything you need from the pages of the pattern. I do that with all of my double knit stuff, so if any of you are watching thinking, oh, I couldn't do double knitting, I'm too frightened to try it, my patterns give you all the information you need. There are also handy links in the pattern to video tutorials that I've put on here on YouTube for all of the things that I either don't describe in detail or a supplement to the things that I do describe. So it's all there for you. Not only that, for the first time ever in one of my patterns, I have not only added the links to the YouTube videos, because it's great, because when you download as a PDF, they're clickable links. So if it's on your screen or on a touch screen device, you can tap it or click it on the link and it'll take you straight there. But that's not good enough. I know a lot of you are pattern printers. You know, for holiday knitting and stuff, you like to have your pattern with you. You're not going to be carrying necessarily an iPad, or you don't, it's too small on your iPhone, so you'll print the pattern. What do you do then if you're on the move and you want to watch one of the videos as a little refresher when you get to something that you're unfamiliar with? In the Ilburato pattern, I'm really pleased. I'm pathetically pleased with this, actually. I'm genuinely really excited to be able to announce I've added QR codes in the pattern page. So if you have a smartphone with a QR code scanning device, so you can easily get QR code scanners free from the App Store or Google Play or whatever you're on. It's the little squares with the black and white square dots on them, and I've printed them into the pattern, and each one is specific to the video tutorial that it's referring to. So all you need to do is point your phone at it, it'll go beep, and it'll bring up the code straight on your phone. So you can do that from the printed versions of the patterns as well. I'm going to make that standard from now on all my new patterns. Eventually, my plan is to go back and add those QR codes, because a lot of them are going to be the same. I don't have to generate new ones each time because it's the same cast on, it's the same technique of edging and all that kind of stuff. So I will go back and I will add them to my back catalogue, but I can't promise that's going to be anytime soon. But I'm really excited about it. I love QR codes. I've knitted them and everything. I've knitted scannable QR codes. Really, really exciting. If that thought excites you, you should check out my I-square pattern, which is an iPad case, which has a QR code knitted onto the front. Instructions on there how you can create and generate your own QR code so you can make it link to whatever you like. This is just a little bit of a shameless plug in the middle of a bigger, more shameless plug. Right, so back to Il Burato. The pattern went on sale yesterday. It is £6. Now I know a lot of people have questioned the price that they actually pay, which has sometimes been higher than £6. Let me explain as much of that as I can to you now. There are certain countries in the world, mostly EU countries, but now including Australia as well, that add their own country's version of VAT to downloadable produce. So this is something that happened about 18 months ago and started doing it, and Ravelry deals with this in a particular way. So for example, in the UK, VAT is charged at 20% of the value of the goods. So what that means is that I set my pattern price, and in this case I've set it at £6. Somebody in the UK, it doesn't matter where I am, it matters where the purchaser is, somebody in the UK who buys and downloads my pattern will actually pay £6 plus 20%. I don't get that money, it comes to me, and I have to pay a PayPal fee on it, so it comes to me, and then at the end of the month, what Ravelry do is they total up how much of that VAT I've been paid from all of the patterns that I've sold in countries where that's relevant, and they claim it back. What they do with that money is then they pay that VAT to the relevant countries in a revenue service. Incredibly complex, a lot of admin. It actually caused quite a few designers to sort of stop designing and stop selling their stuff because they didn't want to be bothered with all of this. Then Ravelry got on the case and sorted it all out, and it's been brilliant. But it does mean that I can only specify the price that I want to get myself, and what you pay on top of that is actually going to your own country's tax man. It's not coming to me. So if you see it says £6 and you're actually paying £7.20, that's because that's the VAT, and I can do nothing about that, I'm afraid. So that's out the way. It is now live, and I'm very, very excited. And the reason I'm not showing it to you, I'll put a few pictures up so you know what I'm talking about. The reason I'm not showing it to you is because I don't have it. Yesterday, I took it round to my very good friend Larissa's house. Now, Larissa is the dyer behind Travel Knitter, and I knitted my my sample, my own version of Il Burato. I knitted that in Travel Knitter yarns, and the colourways I used were called Jaipur, Uluru, Dabbling Duck, and English Damson. They're the 4 colours I used. Stunning, stunning, beautiful colours. I suspect one of the reasons why the pattern has piqued people's interest so much is because of Larissa's beautiful yarns. One of the reasons, the work's pretty nice. I mean, modesty only goes so far, right? You've got to blow your own trumpet, just in case no one else does. So, Larissa and I have teamed up. We've decided that we want to coordinate a launch. So when I was ready to launch the pattern, she also was getting ready behind the scenes to sell yarn kits. And not just in the colourway that I knitted mine. A few weeks ago, I went over to Larissa's house, and what we did is I had so much fun. Literally stash diving in her stock room, going, oh, what about this and this? Oh, these are lovely. Oh, let's take that one out and put that one in. We've put together 4 exclusive custom colourways, specially designed with the Il Burato scarf in mind. There are 4 of them. One is, we've given them Italian names. The reason we've done this is because the original charted patterns that I've used come from a 16th century Italian needlework book, and I've adapted the charts from that for the scarf. Now, this book was originally published by Alessandro Paganino, who is Italian. So they're Italian designs. So we've given it this whole Italian theme. Now the colourway name that we've chosen for my 4 colours, the ones that I chose originally, that's called Festina Lente. Now, festina lente, for anyone who is not an Italian speaker, if you are watching Italian, in Italy I should say, have I got that right? Festina lente. Now, festina lente means make haste slowly, which could not be more perfect for a double knit scarf, because it does progress quite slowly. Although I have to say, the way Ilburato is structured, because it's got those bands of the different patterns working their way up, you never get a chance to get bored, because there's always another pattern to watch emerging under your needles. Oh, I loved it. It's things like the Sanka scarf that I put together as well a few years back. You can't get bored knitting it. There's always something new to turn your attention to, and it's really, really exciting when that happens. So anyway, I've completely lost the thread. Oh, the reason why I chose the name for that is the make haste slowly is what it means, but it was the family motto of the Medici family. Not, as a lot of people pronounce it, the Medici family, but the Medici family. Now, the Medicis were in power, very, very, very powerful Italian family at the time. They spawned popes and queens and ruled basically the whole of Italy, it seems. It's a simplistic view, don't correct me, don't write in. And their family motto was Festina Lente. So it seemed really, really appropriate to use that as our core colourway title. And it looks like this. This is the one that I've knitted mine in. The other, that was my finger clicking, I'm sorry about that. The other the other colourways that we put together are this one, which is called Arte della Lana. Arte della Lana, and that means art with wool, or woolen art, and that's fabulous. And the reason that was Larissa's idea, that one, and oh gosh, I love it. The Medici family made a lot of their money early on from the textile industry. So, and that was the name of the guild in the Arte della Lana, was the guild of textile craftspeople in Italy at the time. So that's perfect. And that one has got the four colours, the green, the pink, the yellow and the orange. And they work together really, really nicely. So it's a much brighter, happier theme, actually. I think the original colourway feels quite regal and majestic, and this one is a bit more chirpy and a little more cheerful, and I like it a lot. Then we move on to this bad boy, and this one is Sogno Gotico. Sogno Gotico is Gothic Dream. Nothing to do with the Medici family. I came up with the title in English and went to Google Translate. To say there was this like fabulous strip. Anyway, but look at it. It's dark grey, light grey, pink and purple, like an electric pink and a purple. Now, I love this. This is actually not one of the ones that Larissa and I put together. Three of those four colours are, but I'm going to let you into a little behind the scenes secret. When she was getting the photographs to send me these pictures, she said, we had this for Gothic Dream, and I actually think the pink is nicer because we had a red in there, and I looked at it, and I misread what she said. I was so excited I went straight to the photographs. I went, I don't remember that being a colourway that we had, but I really rather like it. I think we should keep it. I sent that back to her before I read her email, realising she was explaining why it was different, and we're totally on the same page. It's in. So Sogno Gotico now has the pink and the purple and the dark grey and the light grey. My advice to anybody who is planning to buy a kit from Larissa with the Sogno Gotico colourway is, with the pink and the purple, the contrast between the two is not necessarily as high as some of the other combinations might be. So, unless you're properly playing the Destiny game, which I'll speak to you about in a second, the wisest choice would be to choose colours that have larger blocks of pattern of one colour in them, rather than some of the ones which are a bit more speckly, because that'll break up the colours a bit too much. But that's a minor point. You may find that you don't mind that at all, and the contrast works for you very well. The fourth and final colourway is lovely. It's called Notte dei Fallo. Notte dei Fallo means bonfire night, and you can see why, can't you? So this is the same orange and yellow from Festina Lente. So it's the Jaipur and the Uluru. and the dark grey and the light grey, whose names I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. I love this one. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see someone's FO in the Notte de Fallo colourway. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So those are the colourways that are available. Now you can purchase these kits from Larissa, from her Etsy shop, which is here, travelknitter.etsy.com, and they are £76. Now that's cheaper than buying the yarns on their own and the pattern together would be. So you get them displayed in a nice box. What you'll get with the yarn is a little download code. It's a single-use code from Ravelry that I've generated from my store, and I've given those to Larissa to be able to include one with each one. So you can only use it once, so make sure you're ready to pop it into your library. You go to my shop on Ravelry and you put in the coupon code at the checkout, and it gives you the pattern for free because you've already paid for it with your kit. The reason we're doing it that way rather than a printed one is because then it's in your Ravelry library, and it will be if I send out any updates or amendments or anything like that, then it'll be part of the update process. So that seemed like the best way of doing it. So there's £76 from Larissa, and she put 15 kits on her Etsy store last night, and they disappeared immediately. All 15. She's put up some more, and she is able to do more. I wouldn't hang around because I think this is going to prove very, very popular. We're also both going to be at Fibre East this coming weekend. She's going to be there all weekend. I'm going to be there on the Sunday, and she has got the scarf. That's why. That was rounding this up. Larissa's got the scarf, so she can take it to Fibre East and display it on her stall and try and tempt people to buy more of the kits. It's very, very exciting. It's really exciting. So what, I hear you ask, is the Destiny game? Well, in the pattern, not content with just giving you instructions on how to knit your scarf to look like mine, there are 28 different charts, and the first and the last one are actually the same. They just have the colours reversed, and one is longer than the other one. It's the same pattern. That was from the book, and I was trying to faithfully represent the book as accurately as possible. So what I recommend is doing, because they're the same, bookending the scarf with those two patterns. That leaves you with 26 patterns, charts to work in the body of the scarf itself. Now, I thought that you might not necessarily want to knit yours in the same order that I knit mine in. I've stuck very, very faithfully to the order that they appeared in the original book that I found online, and you might want to do that, and they're given in the pattern in the order that I knitted them. So you could do that, and you could make a replica of my scarf. Or you could play the Destiny game. You could let fate take a hand in designing your scarf. I have worked out, all the rules are in the pattern itself, so I'm not going to explain them here because I want you to buy it to find out. But basically, you'll need a coin. There's coin flipping going on, but I've found a way of easily making sure that you use a coin to choose one of the 26 patterns each time. Not only that, you can use the same technique to choose one of the 12 colour combinations that you can get with 4 colours of yarn. There's only 6, I hear you are. Well, A and B is different from B and A when you're looking at reversible sided fabric, so there are 12. And you can choose your you can let the universe choose your colours as well as which pattern to use next. It's very exciting. So that's the Destiny game. It's all wrapped up in the pattern. So why not head over to my Ravelry store and purchase your copy of Ilbur today? I am so excited about it. It's been a long time coming. Michelle Hazel, hi Michelle, has done a fabulous job with the tech edit, and she's really sort of helped me out and guided me in lots of different ways, and I couldn't do it without her. So that, my friends, is that. Coming up soon, you'll be glad to know, I know a lot of people have been clamouring for this one as well, the World of Welt cowl pattern, looks like this, is also ready to go. I'm leaving it for a week because I didn't want to sort of crash into the Ilbur madness, and it has gone a bit mad. I found out today I've been at number 7 on Ravelry's Hot Right Now Top 20. which is lovely. Thank you so much for all the likes. What I would love, I wonder if all of you here can do me a favour. I don't often ask favours, but this one I'm going to. If you enjoy this podcast, if you would like to repay me in some way, please head to the Ilburato pattern page, not my project page for it, but the actual pattern page itself, the one where you can purchase the pattern. I'm not asking you to buy it. Obviously, I'd love you to, but if you're not interested in making it, don't. I want you to favourite it, okay? Because I could do with your help. If we can get enough people to favourite it, then it might rise from number 7. And the reason I want it to rise from number 7 is on the front page of Ravelry, the login page, once you've logged in, when you go to the front page, on the eye candy page, there's a little list of what's hot right now. And it only shows the top 6. I'm number 7. You can click the link that says top 20 and it'll display all top 20, and that's when you'll see Ilburato, if it hasn't moved by then. But if you could please go to Ravelry and favourite it, we might bump it up and it might get onto the front page, and that will help me out a lot and show it to a lot more people, which would be amazing. Thank you. Thank you in advance. So let's properly go into the roundup, shall we? I haven't got a great deal to share with you on the roundup front because I've been busy getting all that stuff ready. However, I can't believe this is a true story. It is. On Saturday, I was engaged to sing at a wedding, as I often do, and I do it like a singing waiter style thing. So I've explained this before, but if you're new to this, then basically what that means is I'm hired to go along and I will either pretend to be the maitre d' or a waiter at the reception of a wedding. And there's 3 of us, and with a little bit of a scene that happens really embarrassing, a bit of argy-bargy going on microphone, but like the maitre d' is making a speech and the chef comes in, it all gets very embarrassing. Eventually we bring out microphones each and we all start singing. It's always great fun. Always great fun and always really successful. I love going into people's weddings. I like the idea that I can just gate crash someone's wedding. I mean, and pretend I'm supposed to be there. No one knows who I am, but no one bats an eyelid. You stand in a certain way and you just look like you belong there. It's a fun craft to be able to perfect. But there's always so much love at a wedding. People really, really want to have a fantastic time, and therefore when the singing happens and they realise it's an act, they have a lovely time and they look like they're having a better time than they would otherwise. And if we've been able to help with that, I've had brides come up to me and say, "Oh, thank you, you've really made my day." It's like, really? You like getting married didn't do that? So I've been able to help a bride enjoy her special day even more than she would have done otherwise. Then job satisfaction way, way up here. I'm a happy bunny. This one was a little different. Now, a few months ago, Simon, who I work for, emailed me to say, "Nathan, tell me you still got your beard." It's like, yes. Why? He just had an inquiry about singing at a Jewish wedding where they wanted me to be a rabbi. I had strong misgivings about this. Really, really strong misgivings. I said, okay, that got the potential written right through it like a stick of Black Bull Rock to be really, really offensive. He said, don't worry, the bride has asked for this and she's the Jewish one. It's like, okay, slightly mollified, not hugely. It turns out she's a Jewish lady from America. She's lived in England for 30 years and she was marrying a Scottish chap, both in their 50s, so the second time round for them, which is lovely. And and this is what she wanted. So basically she wanted Simon to be the maitre d' and me as a rabbi to interrupt the wedding in the reception in some way, like I've come to the wrong place. Look at me, I'm already getting to character, shrugging. Believe me, no Jewish stereotype left unturned. So I was all kitted out. I had the kippah, or yarmulke, skull cap, whichever you want to call it. Beautiful black velvet one, which was lovely. I had black trousers and a white shirt, and a waistcoat. But I had the talit, which is the Jewish prayer shawl, and a big black coat over the top. And I learned properly how to wear the talit, and I did it properly. I don't know all the Hebrew that I should have been saying, but I held it up properly. For anyone who is Jewish and wants to know this, I held it up properly and brought it over my face. And I said a couple of Hebrew words that I know from the blessing and put it back. And I got the ends together and I cast them over my shoulder and held it there. And then I took it over up onto my neck and then onto my shoulders. And I did it as respectfully as I possibly could. That was just for me. I know some people would say, well, why? You're not Jewish, and that's even worse. I said, well, my intentions were to be respectful to the culture, and I think surely intention counts for a lot. I may not have got it right, but I did what I could. I was really nervous, and I had all this sort of comedy spiel that I'd worked out. So we didn't have a script really. I just had to go in there and make stuff up. But I wanted to make something of it. So as I was being ushered out, I was like, "Sorry to interrupt you. Oh, what's the food like? Eat. If it's good, take it home." Just really, really bad stereotype. People laughed a lot, and one thing I was really quite pleased with, it's not really a Jewish joke at all, but I looked at the bride when I finally sort of recognised her. I was like, "Laurie, it's Laurie! Laurie, you look absolutely beautiful! And Douglas! Doesn't Laurie look absolutely beautiful?" And it brought the house down. Everyone got a big laugh. I got a big laugh out of it, and I knew I was on safe ground. And I had people sort of coming up wishing me good Shabbos. It was a Saturday, so of course I made jokes about not being able to drive my car and blah, 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 blah. And then I launched into L'chaim from Fiddler on the Roof. To life, L'chaim, 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 to life. You know the one. Including a little dance break where I got down on my knees and did the whole sort of walky thing and springing up and doing some of this stuff. All choreography, I hasten to add, from Spamalot. Of course, I was in the original West End production of Spamalot, and there's a song in Spamalot, for those of you who don't know, called "You Won't Succeed in..." Actually, the original is called "You Won't Succeed on Broadway if you don't have any Jews." Our version, because we're not on Broadway, was "You Won't Succeed in Showbiz if you don't have any Jews." And we had the big hats with the flat tops on. We had these grails rather than bottles, which we placed onto our heads, went down onto our knees, and did this routine, sort of knee walking down the very steeply raked stage, and none of the bottles ever fell off. Ever. Not one. Ever, I'm pleased to announce, might have had something to do with the Velcro on the bottom and on the hat. Just saying. Showbiz secret. It went down incredibly well, and the bride was delighted, and it was really nice actually. It was Simon, who I did last week's gig for, and his wife Siobhan, who was there. I've never done one of these singing waiter gigs with Siobhan. She was the third singer with us, and it was just lovely. And I adore Simon, and I adore both of them. I've known Simon for 12 years, something like that. He's a really good mate. It was a lot of fun. We had people afterwards asking for cards. I suspect Rabbi Shmuel might come out to play another time. Just saying. Oh dear. Right up until I was in it though, I was terrified that people were going to be really upset with me. Thankfully they all took it in very, very good spirit. And that kind of brings us up to date really already. Yesterday I had a rehearsal with Vocally Bespoke, who are the choir group, the vocal harmony group that I performed on Pitch Battle, the BBC show with. We have, we're doing a gay wedding coming up soon. I could not be more excited. We're doing a flash mob during the ceremony where will be planted in one of the grooms. Has no idea we're coming. This is where it gets really exciting. We've been booked by the other groom, but the other groom has no idea we're going to be there. And as they start walking down the aisle, I can't believe, before they've even done it, we're going to be hopping up out of our seats and we're going to be singing the theme to the Golden Girls. Oh, I love it so much. Thank you for being a friend. Hiding down the road and back again. Oh, it's going to be just brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. So we're doing a couple of numbers then, and then we're doing a set just after the ceremony's finished as well. It's going to be lovely. So we had a rehearsal with that. It was just me and Ian, who's my fellow bass, and Carrie, who's the leader of the group, going through everything because I can't be at with the rehearsal with everybody else this week because I've got other things on, unfortunately. I had a really, really free week, really, really empty diary, and the one thing in my diary, the only thing, clashed when the rehearsal came in. It's something I couldn't shift. So we put in yesterday's rehearsal and had a lovely time doing that as well. So it's all been about the singing, really, which is lovely. There's been a bit of knitting going on. You'll be pleased to know. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But let's move. Oh, did my phone just go a little bit out of focus then? That felt a bit weird. Oh, my eyes went funny. Don't know. Let's move on, shall we, into community. As I've already said, watching a bit of Katie's podcast earlier today and catching up with some Dan and Kay as well. And recently the new Pow Knits episode is out, episode 7. Pow is the Spanish actor who and knitter and a boy. Hurrah! Pow, I absolutely love the big yellow jacket for Guillermo's fashion show. Pow's boyfriend, Guillermo, is a fashion student, and Pow knitted 2 of the items for Guillermo's final showcase, and one of them was this wonderful yellow jacket. What they did is they knitted very, very long strips. I think he said it was about 8 stitches wide on a machine, and then with those strips got massive needles and knitted that knitted fabric into a massive big chunky knitted fabric. It looks brilliant, so check that out. Moving on then into podcast questions. So, podcast questions. I've got a few. Let's have a look. Hi Nathan, it's Carla from the Netherlands. My question suits your What's Tatt section of the podcast. It's coming later. Maybe this question has been asked and answered already, but here I go. I see a lot of yarny tattoos on Instagram, and I wondered, do you have a yarny tattoo? If not, do you want one in the future? What's your opinion about yarny tattoos? And of course, if you have a yarny tattoo, would you be so kind and show it? I love your office, by the way. It looks lovely. I do too. I'm still spending a lot of time in there, and more to come too, because there's more things I can't really talk about, but will keep me writing quite a lot of stuff. Well, Carla, yes, I'm a member. For those of you who don't know, there's a tattooed crocheters and knitters podcast group on Ravelry, a group for tattooed crocheters and knitters, and I go in there and I look at people's tattoos, and because there's a lot of Ravelry, obviously they're all Ravelry users, they're all fibre people, and a lot of people do have yarn tattoos. Now, I don't have one at the moment. Not saying never. I don't have one. What's my opinion of them? I think if it's a really, really beautiful tattoo, then it doesn't matter to me what the subject matter is, as long as it matters to the person who's wearing it. Then I think it's wonderful. If it's been well done and well crafted, then I'm gonna like it. There are tattoos out there, yarny ones, that I look at and go, oh, it's really tatty and tacky. But that's probably because it's a bad tattoo, not because I don't like the subject matter. Excuse me. So it's difficult to answer that question really, because I think there are other tattoos that are not yarny tattoos. I think, oh God, that's awful. Of course, I would never say that to someone because for them it's special, and I would hate someone to tell me that they didn't like my tattoos. I'm not interested if they do or don't. If they do like them, it's lovely to be told. But they are mine, they're part of me, they really are part of me, and they come from me as well. So it's really important not to say to someone, oh, I don't like that, because They can't do anything about that. And you could, with a chance comment, you could set off a chain reaction and start somebody hating their own tattoo. And that can lead to all sorts of problems. They might do a cover-up and get something bigger and blacker and more ugly. They might start doing laser surgery, which might not work and is very expensive and incredibly painful, probably more painful than having it put there from the stories I've heard from people who've had it done. So be careful with your chance comments about people's tattoos, folks. That's all I can say on that. So I don't have one to show. I am planning a new tattoo. You heard it here first, folks. I've never said that out loud before. Well, not publicly. And it will probably be happening sometime later this year. And I want an aspect of it to nod towards my knitting life. That's all I'm saying for now. That's all I'm saying, okay? Heard it here first. You'll see it here later in the year, whether it becomes knitty or not. Who's next? Sorry, that question was from Carla, who is CQ Harkin on Ravelry. So next we have Jelly Baby Bex, who says, "Hi Nathan, loving the podcast as always. I watched the latest episode today while my fellow was working in the next room. I didn't think he was paying any attention until the very end when he commented on your theme tune and said it sounds like the music from a 1980s school instructional video, in a good way. Is there any other way that could be taken?" In case you don't know, that theme tune was specifically composed as a jingle rather than a theme tune by my husband. And we might be doing an extended version of it because I've got some plans. It's something I want to do with this podcast coming up, so watch this space on that front. Anyway, a question, she says. "We often hear you talking about you singing in musical theatre style," which I do, "but as a choral singer myself, I wondered if you'd ever turned your hand to other styles such as church choral music. There used to be a perception that choristers have to be Christian, but I think that is not so much the case these days. I sing in a travelling church chamber choir, the Clerks of All Saints, in York, and if you wanted to look us up, and of the 22 of us, only 4 or 5 are practicing Christians. I'm not making any assumptions about your own beliefs with this, it's purely a musical question." Okay, so I don't have a faith. I've been quite open about that before. So that's not news to anyone, I don't think. I also, because of that, I feel a little uncomfortable singing worship music. That feels a little bit, this is purely and simply for myself. This is not a judgment on anybody who doesn't share my belief. I feel it's hypocritical of me to sing in worship of a God that I don't believe in. So I don't often sing that sort of thing. Now, I do go to weddings and I will sing with gusto because I'm there for the bride and groom. And I think it would be, really kind of churlish to sit there going, "No, I'm not singing this hymn." So of course I do. I also feel that if somebody is singing out loud, then most people won't just which people tend to do in church anyway. So that's my only real foray into it. I've in concerts and stuff in the past, I've been part of choirs where I've had to sing that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily, it's never been attached to a church. That's not to say, as a child, I was a member of a church choir. I had to go to church, and it was another outlet for singing when I used to sing wherever and whenever I could. So I used to actually be part of a church choir, but that was as a child. So no, not really. In terms of other styles, yeah, I sing anything. When I do the singing waiter stuff, I sing opera. The song that I normally do, the aria that I normally do is La Donna Immobile, and we sing Nessun Dorma as well, as the trio, but I'll tend to be the one that goes, that tends to be me, because my voice sits quite well in that part. I think we do it in a slightly lower key. I think it's down a tone from the original, but still quite a feat of singing effort. So there we are. Musically, yes, I sing a lot of different styles. I sing pop. You'll have heard that on Pitch Battle. If anyone who watched that, you'll have seen It's mostly musical theatre. That's really where my voice sits, and most of the concerts that I do will tend to be that. But I'll sing anything. I've got quite a versatile voice in that respect. I can sort of lend myself to lots of different styles. For example, years ago when I was performing in Hedvig, I played Hedvig in The Angry Inch in the West End. I was the alternate. I did every Monday for Michael Service, who came over from the Broadway production, the off-Broadway production as it was back then, as heavy rock and punk music. And I had to sort of really relearn how to sing, and it was very interesting. I'm flaring a bit, aren't I? Is that better? There you go. It was a very interesting experience. I had to relearn how to safely dirty up my voice. And I'll turn my hand to anything that people want me to sing, basically. We had a little discussion, actually, on the podcast questions thread about Chowgu. Chowgu, of course, are my preferred needle brand, and I use Chowgu needles for everything I knit. And I did say, although I get a little bit cross, because it translates as crafty lady. And actually, somebody's pointed out to me, which is very, very useful, that it's not for crafty ladies, it's a tribute to the founders of the company's grandmother, who was a crafty lady. So that makes it feel a little bit better. But Nemo the Fairy has said, are you sure they didn't just misspell the translation? It's crafty laddie. Yes, it is. So put in that extra D and you've got crafty laddie, and that, my friends, works very well for this crafty laddie. Oh, I loved reading that. That was brilliant. Thank you very much. And I've got one more. This is from either Kruzski or Krushki. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your Ravelry name, but your name is Jen. And it says, hello, Nathan. I've been watching your podcast and just adore you. Well, much as I like being adored, I also adore you too, Jen. Your laugh is very infectious, thank you, and I do so enjoy your content, thank you. I've noticed you do not have a pet roaming around your home as you're podcasting. No, so many people do. Yeah, I'm here for the knitting. I was curious as to why you don't have a pet. Listening to your shows, you and Ben do seem to be very active and busy. Yes, we are. That's the main reason we don't. Did you have pets as a child? I myself am a dog lover and have 2 puppies currently. My 6-month-old border collie just recently had heart surgery. Oh, bless. She did great during surgery and is healing very well. Her name is Adley. Well, Adley, get well soon. Definitely. Much love, Jen. I don't currently have pets. Ben and I have had pets before. I've had many, many, many pets over my years on this planet. I do adore animals. I don't want a dog. I've never wanted a dog. The only time I've ever had a dog in the house was when my stepfather and my mum got together. He brought his dog with him. She was a beautiful Springer Spaniel called Hassel. She was genuinely a wonderful creature, but dogs are big and smelly. Even little dogs are big and smelly, and I don't want that. Cats. We always had cats growing up. My mum's a big cat person. She's got 2 at the moment, and I grew up with a cat that was older than me or my sister. His name was Zimba, and he was enormous ginger and white tomcat with white curly hairs all down his stomach. Very tempting. He was a very docile creature until you tried to stroke the curly hairs on his stomach because they were so tempting. Then you get... You see, cats, I think, are psychotic. I think most cats are psychotic. Ben's best man from our wedding, Philippa. I know, it's a girl. She's still our best man. Grooms have best men. Philippa has a cat called Dandelion. Now, Dandelion hates people. Most people. She quite likes me, and she will tolerate me stroking her. And Dandelion and I have been quite good friends. She's got a turning point, however, and literally you'll be stroking her, she'll be purring and cuddling up to you and pushing her face against your hand as you nuzzle in here and scratch on the top of her head. And then, literally, with no warning at all from this, you just get... So where did that come from? You were loving this, you didn't stop loving it, and now you've just dug your claws into my hand. Literally. So with Dandelion, you then learn that you can give her a little bit of fuss, but you just can't keep it going for very long because you're going to get 5 little claw marks, and possibly raking through the skin. So we don't have cats. I don't think I would choose to have a cat. We live on a top floor flat on a very, very busy main road. So even if we had access to an outdoor space, I wouldn't want to have a cat roaming out. I don't think a cat should be indoors all the time. I need a very different living environment if I were going to have a cat. And Ben doesn't really like cats very much. He's more of a dog person, but neither of us have the lifestyle for a dog. However, rodents are a completely different story. When I was a child, I had hamsters, many hamsters, dwarf and big Syrian ones, long-haired hamsters. We had gerbils. I didn't get on well with the gerbils, they're a bit pointless. And most lovely of all of my pets were the rats. I have long been a fan of rats. I've had about 7 or 8 rats over the years. I bred one of them, and she had a litter, and I kept one of them with her, so I had a mother and daughter team. Most of the rats that I've had have been female. We did have a pair of boys, Castor and Pollux, and I adore rats. I think they make the best pets in the world of any animal. A lot of people go, oh no, I couldn't possibly hate rats. I'm not interested in that. Rats, believe me, are wonderful, wonderful creatures. Female rats smell so beautiful. There's this like musky, sweet, perfumey scent to them. Boys can smell a bit more. I just love them. They're fully trainable. They're so intelligent. I've always trained mine to come when I click my fingers repeatedly, to come wherever they are. So even if they're running around the room, click my fingers and they come. It's Pavlovian. Literally, with a rat, it takes 3 or 4 attempts to train a rat that this is going to give them food. So you click, 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 give it food. Click, 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 give it a treat. Click, 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 give it a treat. Put it on the other side of the room, click, 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 it'll come running. It is that simple to train a rat. Always house trained, to only ever go to the toilet in their cage. No problems with that, but they're so affectionate and they've got such individual personalities. No 2 of my rats have ever been the same. I love them, and I would dearly, dearly love to have another rat. I don't think at the moment it's a good idea because Ben and I are busy all the time, and when I've... Actually, do you know what? That's just broken a dream. I didn't know I was going to be talking about this. I only read that question this morning, but I dreamt I had a rat on my neck last night, and I was doing that, like punting on a... I was punting. Look at there's the mime for punting, which isn't a rhyme at all for punting. It's that, push, and then that, and then down. That's punting. And I had a rat on my shoulders, and it wasn't my rat. It was a domestic rat. It wasn't my big male rat. Wow, how weird! I've just thought about that now. I dearly love to have another one. I do love them. Maybe at some point soon. Anyway, moving on from podcast questions, thank you very much. If you have any more questions for me, I want to know anything about me and my opinions on stuff, head over to the Ravelry group, join if you're not a member, and post your questions in the podcast questions thread. There is a dedicated sticky thread, so it will always be at the top somewhere, just for that, so it'll be easy to find. And I look forward to hearing from you. So, moving on then to what's time? This week's What's Tatt is one of the African ones that I am so sorry. Can you see? Can you see what's happening here? Gentlemen, we're on camera. Do you mind? I'm so embarrassed. It's nice to know they get along so well, isn't it? Oh, Alison, what have you started? Anyway, back. My cheeks are aching. Bad boys. Oh, young love, hey. So, back to what's Tatt. This week is going to be, I'm talking about another of my African tattoos. I've got several, 9 I think, tattoos from the Adinkra culture, which is the Adinkra region was an area of West Africa where sort of Ghana is today. And they have these beautiful tattoos, these beautiful symbols that all have wonderful inspirational meanings. Actually, not all of them, some are quite negative. I don't have any of those. And this week's is this green one here. This here. And this one is called Anansi Ntontan. This one here is called Anansi Ntontan. I've actually lost the plot. Here we are, from adinkra.org, if you want to go and look at like a whole list of them and all their meanings. Anansi Ntontan means, literally translates as spider's web. You can see kind of what that looks like. It looks like a spider's web drawn representationally. And it's a symbol of wisdom, creativity, and the complexities of life. So the web of life and how complex it is and how you need wisdom to traverse it. And you need to be creative sometimes, I think, to get through the complexities that life throws at you. I love that. Anansi was the character. Anansi was the spider. He's a well-known character in African folktales. So if you've ever read any Neil Gaiman books, then you'll probably be familiar with the Anansi boys, which is all wrapped up in the mythology and the folklore of Anansi, who was one of the, like, not Dreamtime, that's Australia, but the sort of the early folklore of African culture. So that's really all I have to share with you on Anansi and Ntontan. It sort of breaks the rule. My rule was always, one of my 3 rules was it had to be something that could be drawn by lines, and this one is more of a solid shape, but I figured I could get away with it by calling each one of these a line. I just really liked it, and I really liked the meaning. So my tattoo, my body, my rules, I can break them if I want to. That's basically where that came from. And that's this week's What's Tatt? Okay, so now let's get on and share some actual knitting content, shall we? Now, this is not a whip or an FO. These you've seen before, right? So I finished these last time and showed you these fabulous socks made with John Dunballam's fabulous colourway from his Gobstopper range. Oh my God, they're so bright. I love these. Now, a few people, I spoke in quite a lot of detail last time about some of the things. Look at the colour matching. I was so pleased with that. Top down, so I started there, knit with no yarn managing at all, and got to there. Wow. A lot of people have been talking about some of the things, the tips and tricks that I put into these. I've actually decided I'm going to write it up. I am definitely going to do it. So I've started work on it, and I'm calling the pattern the best self-striping socks in the world. So look out for that coming soon. It won't cost much, £3 I think. And essentially it's going to be a simple pattern to make a simple pair of self-striping cuff down socks. However, I'm putting in so much detail of all the little tips and the little expert knowledgey things that I've gleaned and devised over the years of sock knitting, and I'm putting them all into it. So how to properly, instructions on how to get the blipless striping, how to work the heel flap the way I do so you get no jagged line at the top there, working it inside out and backwards, kind of how to turn the heel the way I do with perfect symmetry on the decreases both sides. Ribbing a gusset, that's in there if you want it, and then working all the way through to what I call earless kitchenering. Earless kitchenering is this lovely, often you get these bulging corners at the top of your Kitchener stitch. Well, that's not bad, is it? It doesn't do that. There's several tips and tricks, which I'm not going to go into here because I'm expecting people to buy the pattern. But even these are not quite as good as the pattern itself will be. Yesterday or the day before, I forget which, but I realised something that I was doing about the way I do the Kitchener graft across the beginning and the end of it is how I don't get those dog ears. There's another thing, there's another level of it as well, but I discovered something so amazing. I got so excited about it. I was literally running around the house. And Ben was like, "What on earth is wrong with you?" I said, "Come here." I tried to explain it to him, and he tried to look interested. Oh, he's very good. He's really supportive, but bless him. And I was going to like really technical details. I said, "Yeah, but if you do it this way and look, and instead of just going in for it, if you make sure you like slip this in a certain way, blah 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 blah." And I am so excited. It gives you perfect symmetry on your Kitchener, but not just symmetry, the neatest closing in of the ends. I'm so excited about it. I will never Kitchener another pair of socks the old way again. I will always do this. Yeah, it's a little bit more fiddly than just your normal set up and go with Kitchener, but I think, oh gosh, it's so easy. Just a few extra steps and you get this wonderful pulling in of the corners. Oh, I love it! Get very, very excited with technique stuff like that. I am a proper technique geek when it comes to knitting. I just love discovering how you can make something better. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that so much. So that'll be coming out soon. I just wanted to share that with you and show you that that's what's going to be happening with these. Oh, look at the colour on this sort of brown set that I have that barely has any colour in it. These socks were screaming at you. Anyway, let's move on to stash enhancements, shall we? I've actually got quite a lot. I say that, it's 2 bits of stash enhancement, one of them's a big bit. And I'm going to do that first. I think it's the one that arrived only today, and I'm not even going to get it out of the bag, but I'm not really allowed to talk about it. But I have this lovely, lovely big bag from the West Yorkshire Spinners. Hi guys. Now, this is the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. And there are 6 balls of yarn in there. I've got this lovely slate grey, the creamy white, the black, the red, a mustardy yellowy orange, and a fawn brown. And the reason I've got all of those colours is because I'm going to be working on a secret project which you're not going to be able to see anything of. So that's the last you're going to see of that yarn for a few months. A secret project which is a design commission for a magazine, and those are the yarns that are going into it. So that was really, really exciting. Did that just jiggle the camera? I think it may have done. I got excited and started jigging my knees up and down just talking about how excited I was by the yarn arriving. And I jiggled your camera, so I'm sorry if you felt like you were experiencing an earthquake. If you're watching on a large television, start to feel a bit queasy. Oh, Nathan, shut up. Honestly, just stop talking. No, don't stop talking. That's what they're here for. Oh, crikey. Blimey, I say. So that's that, and I can't really talk about it. I shouldn't really have shown it. I'm not going to edit it out, though, because I haven't given anything away. It's just an ongoing project with those 6 colours in it, is all I can tell you. The other thing is actually from my visit up to Yarningham in Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, and I did have this last time, and I deliberately didn't talk about it. The reason I didn't talk about it was because I didn't expect to have any stash enhancement this week, not knowing that was going to plop through the door. But now I've got this, and I really want to share it with you. My good friend Jenny from Owl About Yarn, Jenny from Owl About Yarn is dyes some wonderful, beautiful things. Now, Jenny and I first met in March this year at a knitting retreat that I was teaching. Actually, took one of my classes there, but she's this brilliant dyer. And I wasn't planning to buy anything at all at Yarningham. I've got enough yarn to be going on with at the moment, and I didn't plan to, but then I saw this and went, oh, that's gorgeous. Did a couple more sweeps, chatted to a few more people, and then just went back to Jenny and went, this is coming home with me. It's really beautiful. I'll just show it to you. Ready? So it's essentially like a rainbow, right? But it's not bright. There's a depth to these colours. There's a darkness. It's like they've been singed or dyed with a bit of soot or something like that. Something that makes them dark. And the colourway, actually, it's called Happy Owl, and it's 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester. Now, I really like blue-faced Leicester. I love the bounce it has to it, which is, I think it's more robust than merino. And this is 100 grams, 400 meters, 437 yards, so it's a standard length. And this is from owlaboutyarn.etsy.com if you want to find Jenny online. And this colourway is called Heroes. Now, you may think, well, what does that mean? Well, when she was talking to me about it, she says, yeah, she's named them after the Green Lantern and Superman and Wonder Woman, and all of these superheroes have their colours in here. Now, I don't know for sure, but I like to think that a lot of the modern takes on superheroes' stories is that they're quite dark. You know, there's a bleakness to them, particularly Spider-Man and things like that. And that it's not all the sort of sunny, rosy thing that we used to believe from the 1960s Batman movies, series. So I think that there's a bleak aspect to these colours. It's multicoloured and rainbowy, which I love. And it's not a self-striper. This is variegated, as far as I remember her saying. I can't remember. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to undo the skein and show you. See what we think. Oh, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, so the patches of colour goes from green here into yellow. So that's where the yellow starts, and already it's gone into orange, and already it's going into the purples there. So there's not that many. So you'll get maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 stitches of one colour before you're moving on to the next. Lovely, lovely. I cannot wait to see how this knits up. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So there we are. That's Heroes by Owl About Yarn, of Jenny. And I could not be happier with that. So I'm just going to try and recreate the skein, put it into some sort of semblance of order with the skein. There you go, live skein wrapping. There you go. It's not quite perfect, but it'll do. It'll do for now. There we go. And there we are, back into it. So that is Happy Owl Base by Owl About Yarn. Look at Jenny's stuff online. She's got some really, really beautiful colourways, and she's very reasonably priced as well. She doesn't price herself way high, so particularly if you're in the UK and there's going to be less shipping cost, then I think you'll find very, very reasonable and gorgeous colours. So that's that. Now, in terms of whips, I'm afraid I got nothing to show you. That doesn't mean I've got nothing on the needles. It's just stuff that hasn't had any progress on it. My Nahani River vest still not. My piano number 3 rapidly becoming a UFO, but I will get back to it as soon as I can. It's just that I have been knitting the project for what that yarn is going on, spending quite a lot of time working out stuff with it. I know that the yarn's only just arrived, but I've been doing prototype with some other odd bits of yarn just to make sure it all works. I wanted to get ahead of the game, so I've got a deadline and it's coming up soon. However, I do have an FO. What? He's got no whips, but he's got an FO? How is this possible? Well, 3 days ago, I cast on a pair of socks. This morning, I finished them. It's been the quickest knit in the world. This has been really fun little exercise for me. My dad, and I know you watch the podcast, and I know I told you if you've watched this before your birthday, you'll get a smack. So, for those of you who are not my dad, which is everyone except one of you, it's my dad's birthday this weekend. This is Thursday, his birthday's on Sunday. So he's asked me ages ago, he wants some hand knit socks. He wants some bed socks because he gets cold feet. So I looked through my stash and I came up with this fabulous yarn, which you might recognise. Excuse me, Stuart, let me just take your boyfriend for a second. Here's Aloysius, and here are the Aloysius socks. I was given, I think by Ben's parents actually, my in-laws gave me 2 skeins of the West Yorkshire Spinners, I think it's the Air Valley Aran, I forget the name of the colourway, and I had 2 of the skeins, they're 100 gram skeins each, and when Dan of Bakery Bears fame challenged me to knit a bakery bear, I did. The only yarn I had of the correct weight, or a suitable weight, was this. So I broke into one of the skeins and it took hardly any. I mean, he's quite a big bear, he's bigger than my face, but actually the knitting of him is not that much. There's a lot of stuffing in there, obviously, but the knitting didn't take up that much yarn. So I had a full skein and about a third of a skein left over. So knowing that I had that in stash, there you go, Stuart, you can hold hands again. Knowing that I had that in stash, I thought, well, that's going to be perfect because it's really thick. It's really soft as well. It's a lovely texture to it. I really love this yarn. It's really nice to work with. And I thought, well, I'll just go for it. And I knew I only cast these on Monday evening, I think, and it's now Thursday. So I've had 3 days. So I knew I didn't have very long, and I thought what I'll do is why not do them 2 at a time? Now I know most of you will know this, I don't knit socks 2 at a time, and I've said before, the reason I don't is I don't like how slowly they grow, and I couldn't be bothered with yarn management and so, in terms of like making the balls tangle, because as a male knitter, I don't want my balls tangled. One of those days, isn't it? So this one, I thought, do you know what? The speed of the knit is not going to be a problem. So I can just, I'll do it. I'll experiment. The only time I've ever tried 2 at a time before, A, I didn't like the speed, but also I separated them when I got to the heel flaps because I wasn't getting on with it. But B, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do next. Actually, it's really easy. You just do one, then you do the other when you get to it. But I didn't know that at the time. So I didn't separate these at all. I knitted them completely on a 100 centimetre Chow-Gu. Well, it's the longest cable, and with the interchangeable tips, the total length, including tips, is 100 centimetres, 39 inches. So I cast on, and I didn't follow any tutorials. I remembered the theory that you have to cast on half of one, all of the other, and then the second half of the first one. To get it right, and I managed to do that without any problems at all, and then I just ploughed in, and this is such thick yarn, and there were 4mm needles, so it's quite an open texture to this. He wanted really nice warm snuggly bed socks, and I think this will be they. It was a 48 stitch cast on. So I took all my maths from that. It's just a very standard. I think I did 10 rows of 1x1 ribbing. I didn't see the need to do 2x2 because if you can see, it's lovely. It's really nice. Oh hello. My end popped through. I don't know if my weaving in didn't go so well. I just pop that back through to the inside. So that's I did 10 rows of that. And of course, one of the reasons why I wanted to do 2 at a time is because I didn't want to have to try and remember or be counting rows because I needed to knit these in such a hurry. So I thought, well, if I'm doing 2 at a time, when the legs are long enough, I'll do the heel flap. It won't matter. I won't need to care how many rows there are, so I won't need to remember it next time. So that's why I did it, mostly. And so when I got to the heel flap, I just did. I've done a slip stitch heel, which you can see the ridges of there, a standard heel turn, I just sort of had to, I just did the maths according to the algorithms that are in my head for doing heel turns, picked up stitches along the gusset edge, picked up an extra one the way I normally do, worked the gusset down to normal, and actually what I did before I got to the toe, so the toe starts there, see the toe decreases are there, but as the foot started to narrow, because it's deliberately a slouchy, squishy sock, but I didn't want it to be baggy, as my foot starts to narrow, I don't really know what size my dad's feet are, I'm assuming they're just a little bit bigger than mine, I actually did one set of decreases, so 4 stitches decreased a little bit earlier than the toe starts, so it just sort of snugged it in a little bit. And then I did my, look at that, no ear Kitchener. Just beautiful, isn't it? That's how a wedge toe should look. None of this pokey outy stuff at the corners. I'm never going to do it any other way. I'm really not. Look at the edge of that. Just stunning. So pleased with that. And there they are. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the 2 at a time. When I, because I had a full cake from the complete skein and only a little bit, probably less than I've got left. This is what I've got left in total. This pair of socks, for a man's socks, you'd need to make them a little bit shorter in the ankle to get them out of one skein. I've weighed this pair and they're 114 grams. So, you know. Is it worth buying 2 skeins just for 1 pair of socks? No, but you've got enough for a bakery bear. So what I had, a little skein, a little cake, and a big cake. And obviously I was using one end from each. Actually, I didn't realise this, but I was pleased about it. The colourways are actually going in the opposite directions. Can you see that I go from dark grey through green, brown and beige? Here I go the opposite way, from dark grey to green, brown and beige with the cream in the middle. I don't know why I didn't say that. Dark grey, green, cream, brown, beige, dark grey, green, cream, brown, beige, going upwards instead of downwards. So they were going the opposite way. I don't think you noticed that particularly because the striping sequence is quite short. But I was pleased about that because what it meant was when I got to the end of one of them, the small one, I'd run out of that. I mercifully, I actually don't have it with me, but as I wanted to get to an approximate part in the same place in the colourway, I only had to pull off a little bit. What I did was I used the centre end from the big cake that I had loads left on, knowing that that would be going backwards the other way, as one sock's coming this way down the colourway, the other sock will be going that way, which matches the reversed colour. That was purely by chance. I wouldn't have bothered me if I'd had to go part way on one sock and then back again, but I didn't need to, which was lovely. And as luck would have it, I was really close to the same point in the colourway. I had to wind up about 2 metres from the centre of the ball before I got back to the right place. So actually, it all worked out rather well. Weirdly, I don't know how or why this is the case, but I cast on in a speckly bit on both, because you can see that there's a solid colour and a grey and white speckle, solid colour, grey and white speckle all the way through the colourway. I didn't plan this. I happened to cast on with both in the middle of a speckly bit, which almost immediately went into a solid colour. Even though it's a different solid colour, and even though my sock colourways are going in different directions, wait for it, all the way through, the cream colours match. It's weird. None of these colours are the same. The cream colours match. When I got to the heels match in the cream with the speckles as well, going in different directions. And then when I got to the very end of the socks, the toes also match. Pure serendipity. I take no credit for that whatsoever, but it really ties them together into a pair. The toes matching. Look, I mean the colours next to the toes are not the same, but then the cream matches and then the cream matches. It's so weird. I don't know how it happened. I really, really don't. Delighted it did. I think they look lovely. And I hope, Daddy, that you will enjoy wearing your handmade bed socks. So those are for you, and they'll be winging their way to you. I'll put them in the post later today or tomorrow. And that, my dears, is your lot. So I'm very, very delighted to say that although this podcast episode is a finished object, remember, life is a work in progress. And if you want the best work in progress on your needles that you could possibly have, head over to Ravelry and purchase your copy of Ilbur. Better still, head over to travelknitter.etsy.com and purchase your kit from Larissa. Until next time, remember, life is a work in progress. Take it one stitch at a time. I messed up my own ending. I don't care. I'm not going to redo it. You know me, can't be bothered. Lots of love. See you next time. Ciao. Over and out.